So, Charlie, why'd you move to Portland?
My dad moved here.
Where you been?
Got a job.
What kind of job?
What's this one's name?
May not Pete.
Everything and anything. Like, I think since I started to want to make films and making films, you're just driven to do it. And sometimes I don't know why I'm doing it, and sometimes I wish I didn't do it because it can be, just drive you to insanity. Mm-hmm. So I think for me, it is just trying to understand the world, understand me, express myself to the world in whatever way I can. So I do see it as a very personal thing that I'm doing, which is often why it is quite difficult. Yeah, I was an assistant editor on Gladiator. Yeah, so I started out working, as in editing. Well, you would think that, but when you're an assistant editor, you don't even really meet the director. So on those films, I would say the editor of those films was the one that would give me jobs on those films. And it's a very, some people say to me, "Oh, I hear you edited Gladiators." Like, no, I literally was in the back room with 10 other assistants working on the film. But, at that stage, I wanted to work in the industry. I needed to earn money and I needed to work. And it was fascinating to work on those, those big kind of Hollywood films and see how that works, and then decided not to make those kind of films. Mm-hmm. It teaches you enormous things. It teaches you how to tell a story. It teaches you the pressures that they under to tell those stories. It teaches you just everything, really. Just how a scene is constructed and how it's up to you as a director to decide how that scene is constructed. And just working in the industry, it was it was fundamental to me. And I also worked as assistants to Ismail Merchant from Merchant Ivory, and they were pretty big in the UK, costume dramas in that period. You just see how different people have different ways of working. And for me, it was very important to work up. And I think going onto a set now, I know what it's like to be an assistant editor, and I know what it's like to be, a floor runner, and I know all those things. So for me, it was very important. I think it was probably the time that I decided to not do what I was doing anymore and make my own films. I think that, and having that confidence to suddenly say, okay, do you know what? I'm just going to start making things. And I did it very slowly, making short films and all those kind of things. And it was realizing that it's a long process and I don't need to be incredibly successful the first thing I make. I think realizing that and just actually making films was the turning point. And then there's lots of turning points along the way when people like your film or helps you get another film made, all those kind of things.
Did your mom leave you or something? It's a shame. Kid needs a mother.
Yeah, I do see it that, I think what's fascinating about the American dream is that it has absolutely failed people, huge amount of people. But at the same time, inherent in its idea is this hope. And I think what's interesting about the story is America has failed Charlie, but he is still driven by hope.
Call 911! Please!
What are we supposed to do? We can take care of ourselves. You and me.
It's gonna be okay.
This is a story essentially about hope that isn't necessarily hopeful. And to me, that felt very American. We don't have the American dream in the UK, and I don't know what it's like here, but we don't have that similar thing. So it definitely fascinates me, and I do think that it's worth telling stories about how it has left people behind, because that is how you start to understand how someone like Trump can get into power.
Where are you headed?
Where's your family?
I'm not homeless.
I hate to break it to you, but
How'd you get all the way out here?
He's gonna be okay. I promise.